Welcome back, YouTube. So in today's video, I'm going to cover some basics as far as for the price points that we're going into the weekend and what we can kind of expect going into next week. Now, I started this because I put it in the title and I mentioned Barry. I know Barry's saying sell, and it's one of the reasons why I hate when, I'm not gonna say I hate, but I dislike when people have influence and they start speaking to the market to kind of put a narrative out there, whether that's sell or I'm gonna short Dogecoin and stuff like that. It's time to short, go to BTC, and pretty much you know what you're doing when you do that, because you can influence like some people to align with your actions. And it's kind of like when like a hedge fund comes out and saying, "Oh," it's like if hedge funds came out and said, "Hey, we're short this asset," and then people start dumping and panicking. Oh, the hedge funds don't like it; must not be any good, and then you end up selling, and of course, you're at that point, you're helping them make money. So I just kind of feel like that kind of happens a lot here. But ultimately, before I even get into the charts, I'll say that the biggest indicator for a long-term pullback, a long-term correction, breakdown of the economy is going to come from the macros, and that's going to come from Powell in March. That's going to be the biggest factor. Now, we can have some things that kind of develop in the economy that we can have some short-term corrections, pullbacks. I'm not saying that we're going to rally all of February or something like that, but ultimately, as far as for the direction of the economy in the year, we need those updated numbers, and that's going to come in March. So we're going to have to kind of sit tight for that. But going into the weekend here, even looking at Doge, we are in an upward trajectory. This is roughly about 2 weeks since January 19th. We have established this trend here. We're getting ready to retest that 9.5 mark. And after that, we'll be set all the way up until about 1010. We could see a light sell off there, and then we'll be set for the 1121. But it really just depends, because that 1010 mark it's not necessarily very strong. So depending on the momentum, if we don't hit a consolidation here, then we'll certainly go up to that 1010 mark. We have a potential to retest the 8.5 mark, but again, this depends on the volume going into next week. I don't see anything short wise coming in that way. It's kind of trigger like a panic or anything. They're pretty much non-existent still, so I think we'll be fine going through the weekend. We take a look here at BTC and we'll get an idea, because BTC is outside, because Dogecoin is on an upward trajectory, because we have that individual catalyst for Twitter payments with Dogecoin and stuff like that. Bitcoin, however, and that's the reason why I said we can see a pullback, which is fine. It's not saying it's not the end of the world, because again, we've been in an upward trajectory for the last 2 weeks. But Bitcoin here it's similar, but it's very weak. Momentum is not cutting it right now for Bitcoin, and we're kind of hovering around that 23.5 mark. So it's very possible that we can come back and visit that high, that 22 mark. I say 22.5. So pretty much like $1,000 if we're to have like a cool off period to see if there's some liquidity down there for us to kind of bounce back up. Because right now the volume and stuff like that, this move is, I won't say losing steam, but it's certainly very weak right now. And you can time it out, but we have to kind of keep Bitcoin in the loop, because we know that's where institutional money comes from. And I don't think that there's interest in things like Dogecoin, Ethereum, and all that kind of good stuff. But with Ethereum, we're going to have to, because we challenged the 1654 mark, and we got a slight rejection above it, and we're getting ready to challenge it again. But for the market makers like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, stuff like that, they're going to need Bitcoin to move first. And for Ethereum, we're going to need for Doge, we're going to need a concrete date for Twitter integration. I do believe there's going to be a larger amount of interest in that, but we're just going to need another date, because right now it's up in the air, and that can be this year, that can be next year. Who knows how long that's going to take to develop. So it's not going to be such a pressing issue. What we're seeing now is kind of pretty much like the early birds piling in to take positions because now they know, okay, we have a long-term catalyst. This is coming. It's no longer, theory or, hopium. So we have some actual dates ahead. But Ethereum is actually doing really well. Again, we're getting ready to retest this previous high here. We've literally filled the bowl. So after that, we're still looking at around like 1778. That's in a great position. And I even say, I won't say it's in a better position than Bitcoin because I know Bitcoin influences this. But as far as for chart wise, I like this better because even the moves to challenge this have been a little stronger. So you can see the volume actually going into Ethereum to hit this point has actually been greater. Even if you even look at the angle, you see we had that consolidation, but then the angle to hit to test that 1680 mark roughly has been a lot more aggressive. Bitcoin is kind of trending sideways. And, don't take that out of context because Bitcoin can certainly, crash and drag Ethereum to hell. But as of right now, chart wise, this is better looking in my opinion. Cardano as well. Cardano, again, even more aggressive here. This move here has just been beautiful this entire time. Like I can't be mad at this. But it comes down, grabs this liquidity and keeps on chugging along. Beautiful movement here. So we kind of have to keep our eyes on Bitcoin over the weekend, certainly, and certainly for the beginning part of next week to see if it's going to continue its trend. But more than likely, we're going to have to see a consolidation in Bitcoin so that it can grab some liquidity, hopefully just around that 22 mark. And if not, we're looking at lower 21s, 20 mark, and before we can get that next bounce up. And again, that's fine. I don't expect us to rally all the way until the next Fed meeting. It's just looking at the price points here because Powell gave us some. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. I broke down Powell's speech, but Powell certainly gave us some insight as far as for the potential of a pivot next month, but he did not give us anything concrete. So, and Bitcoin doesn't have that individual catalyst, something like Doge. So I don't believe it's as aggressive, and its pivot point is a lot higher than, it's not as close as something like a Cardano or Ethereum. Bitcoin is about $2,000 to $3,000 from, I'll say about $2,500 away from its next point around. Oh wait, excuse me. Yeah, 25,281. So yeah, about $2,000 away. So yeah, we need a much steeper incline if we don't break this trend line here, but we'll need certainly need some appreciation here, which will be good for the entire crypto market, but not guaranteed that we're going to get here. More than likely, we revisit around 22 to get some liquidity before going up. But again, that'll be confirmed on a longer time frame. This is just short-term time frame, so we should see a pretty smooth weekend. No shock waves, at least not as of right now. Unless Elon tweets something or some shorts come in. But other than that, should be a pretty solid weekend. If you found any value, even remotely, a little bit in this video, subscribe to the channel as we push toward 50K. Each subscription certainly helps. I appreciate all of you. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video.